Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on the Arise News channel. With me, I have Professor Bola Quintessential, Director General, Bolitech Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director, Enough is Enough. The South American country of Brazil this week declared 3 days of national mourning following the death of Pelé, who for many was the world's greatest football player ever. The Brazilian star, who rose from barefoot poverty to become one of the greatest sports stars in modern history, died on Thursday at the age of 82 following a long battle with cancer. Fans immediately began gathering outside the Albert Einstein Hospital in Sao Paulo, where he passed away. It's been announced that his hometown club, Santos, will host a 24-hour week on Monday, tomorrow. U.S. President Joe Biden joined football fans all over the world in mourning Pelé's death. Biden, former Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama all posted messages on Twitter lamenting the passing of the only man to have won the World Cup 3 times as a player. FIFA President Gianni Infantino says Pelé will never be forgotten.
Well, for all those who love football, this is certainly the day that we never wanted to come. We lost Pelé, the king, Ore, and we feel a void, we feel sad. But actually, we never lose him. We never lost him. He's forever with us. He's forever with everyone who loves football because of what he did for football, because of what he did for giving emotions to all those who love football. Even those who have not seen him play like myself, we love him. I remember when I was 11 years old, my father took me to a cinema to watch a movie, Escape to Victory, a movie in which Pelé was one of the main actors together with Sylvester Stallone, and my father wanted absolutely for me to see the skills of this unique, incredible player, and the great goal he scored in that movie was a glimpse of his unique talent. I was unfortunate enough to meet him. I could even sit next to him for the premiere of his movie, Pelé, in Milan, as I was sitting next to my father in 1981 to watch Pelé play. And I can only speak positively about him, like everyone who knows him. A great...
Back home, here in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari joined world leaders in expressing grief over the death of the Brazilian football legend, who died on Thursday evening in a Sao Paulo hospital at 82. Arguably, the world's greatest football player, Pelé, is credited with scoring a record 1,281 goals during a 21-year-long career, for which FIFA named him the Player of the Century in the year 2000. Pelé had been treated for colon cancer following surgery to remove a tumor in September 2021. Aaron Akrejola, Arise News correspondent, tells us more.
Pelé, the Brazilian virtuoso, whose captivating skill and athleticism ensured he was universally regarded as one of football's greatest players, has died at the age of 82. Pelé, who had a colon tumor removed in 2021, was readmitted to the Albert Einstein Hospital in Sao Paulo in November amidst deteriorating health. A hospital statement on Thursday confirmed the death of our king of football at 3:27 p.m. local time due to the failure of multiple organs, a result of the progression of cancer of colon associated with his previous clinical condition, the hospital said in a statement. A statement from Pele's official Instagram page added, "Inspiration and love marked the journey of King Pele, who peacefully passed on away today. On his journey, Edson chanted the world with his genius in sports, stopped the war, and carried out social work all over the world and spread what he believed most to be the cure for all our problems: love." Brazil's joint all-time record scorer won 3 World Cup as a player: in 1958, in 1962, and in 1970, over a 14-year international career that included 77 goals in 92 appearances for his country. Nicknamed the Black Pearl and the King, Pelé was one of only 3 players to have scored in 4 different World Cups. In 1,363 games, he scored 1,281 goals at the time of his retirement in 1977, more than twice as many as his nearest challenger. Born Edson Arantes do Nascimento on the 23rd of October 1940, Pelé began his professional career at the age of 15 and made his international debut at the age of 16 a year later. In 1999, he was voted Player of the Century in a poll of Ballon d'Or winners, and Time magazine named him as one of 100 most influential people of the 20th century.
Michel Obi is a seasoned sports journalist and president, International Sports Press Association, better known as AIPS Africa. He joins us now to revisit the cult personality of Pelé, a man regarded by many as football's greatest of all time. Thank you very much, Michel Obi, for joining us on This Alive, the Sunday talk show. Well, everyone has been talking. Everyone has been talking about Pelé. Happy New Year to you. And you have been a sports reporter for almost your entire life. Your tributes.
Actually, thank you, Ruben. I was born in 1958 when Pele won the World Cup. And the story of that was his first World Cup, and he did it as a youngster, just 17.
Yes.
And that was a Pele who scored a goal against the Welsh. And in their tribute to Pele, they say he has broken their hearts again by really passing on. But Pele himself said he was never going to pass on. Pele is the legend. Pele is the big. The one who has died is Edson. According to a statement he's made in 2014 to Time magazine, he says Pele will never die. Pele lives, and Pele will always be there. And that's why when you look at football, everything Pele achieved had something to do with the beautiful game. And little wonder, he called it himself the beautiful game. Some have described him as the Beethoven of football, but you know, crazy as it is, that's the line of Diego Maradona. He says when Pele takes a little pill, he makes crazy statements. But then Pele was born to play football. And we've seen a man who, even after he left the game 52 years after he won the World Cup, it seemed as if he won the World Cup only last month in Qatar. That is the measure of a man who epitomizes the best of football and beyond. Indeed, Pele says his mission was not just to make footballers play like him, but also to make them feel like men. And I think he accomplished all of that. And that's why the world today will celebrate Pele, the legend, and perhaps bury Edson, the man.
Well, I mean, clearly, nobody will argue with you. Pelé was, one of those men who became distinguished and became remembered all over the world with an eponymous single name, like Socrates, like Beethoven, like Mozart, like Aristotle, like Plato.
Michelangelo.
Okay, like Michelangelo, the artist. So, like Chopin, So these greats, they just become great, and the world remembers them by a single name. But what will you say are those distinguishing features, distinctive features that defined the man, the icon, the legend, Pelé?
I think effectively is carrying the strength of the game beyond it, and also allowing the world to find herself in what football stands for. And Pele not only came from a multicultural society to emphasize his strength inside a multicultural team, but also make winning become something of grace. That is, you win and you find joy not only in giving joy to the people, but also in showing what it takes to win. And of course, the humanity of his attainments tend to emphasize what we need today. Pele came to Nigeria when we had a civil war. But at a time like this, when we are looking to unify a country divided by religion, divided by region, divided by issue of class, talking about the poverty and the rich, the poor and the rich, you need a kind of the Pele spirit to find the balance, to bring people together, to understand that the world itself is a passing game, that all of us need to make a contribution to make this place beautiful, just like football. And I think Pele stood for all those elements that can help a country find its true nationhood. And I think that's where he gets an anchor or gets a resonance from all those who see beyond the game the strength of Pele. Indeed, Nelson Mandela will tell you that the power of sports can change the world. It is because of individuals like Pele who left the game and still maintain those elements that really stand the test of time. And Nigeria needs, we need love, we need unity, we need to go beyond our differences in regions, and we need to also find excellence. Pele stood for excellence. Indeed, he's the quintessential reference of the game. There is really no great today who wouldn't have taken something from Pele, and that is what it takes. We must always find a reference that can really help us as a guide.
Well, many persons have described him as the greatest of all times, and that's understandable. For Santos FC of Brazil, he scored in 679 matches, a total of about 643 goals. Globally, with Cosmos, with Santos FC, he scored over 1,000 goals, and he's a source of inspiration for the younger generation. Do you think that there will be another Pelé? Because people have been saying, oh, there are other greats who are coming very quickly in his footsteps. Will there be another man like him in football?
You know, in 1982 in Libya, there was a young man from Ghana. He was just 16 years old. You know his name? Abedi Pele. Two of his sons played in the last World Cup, Jordan and Ayu. That is the strength of how people wanted to name their children involved in the game after Pele. But they were really the Pele in different dimensions. Pele, the scorer with the head. Pele, the scorer with the best left foot. Pele, the one who said of all the goals he scored, the one they asked him more questions on was the one he didn't score. You can understand that for a man who scored over 1,200 goals and they keep asking him about the one he didn't score. That is how the world wants to see a hero. We need idols, we need heroes, we need people who can not only become a source of inspiration, but people who can become, as I said, the quintessential reference for humanity. And Pele, the legend, has transformed into a myth. And little wonder, even in the desert, they talk about the desert Peles. I wonder what Pele will be doing in the desert. But then that is the strength of the legend. This generation has had its own Peles. We've seen them, the likes of Maradona, the likes of Messi, name them Ronaldo and Johan Cruyff. And even in Nigeria, we've had talents who can give us joy. I think the essence of Pele was that he gave joy to people. And if you can give joy to people and make the game beautiful and transpose that into your country, make your country a joyful one, a beautiful one, then you begin to, as I say, you begin to synchronize all those elements into how to build a nation. Between the pitch and the nation, sometimes the difference is the same. They all involves building and, of course, finding a point of crystallization. And that's why Pele will always remain the myth. They will always have Pele.
Well, it is interesting to see how one man with his craft, with his skills, with his divine genius. Don't let's not just say genius, put his country on the global map. And here in Nigeria, as is the case with the rest of the world, we've been affected by that divine genius. But what is it that is wrong with us in this country? Even World Cup, we could not make it. The only man who went to represent us there was Davido from the creative sector. The last match we played, we lost to Portugal 4-0. And there's no indication that even with the excitement that Pele, and others continue to generate here, we just can't get it right in Nigeria. I mean, what is the problem with us?
Because we have stopped doing the little things right, Ruben. We need to do the little things right. And that's exactly what Pele did. Even for his sophistication, he still kept the game simple. And we have not even decided to keep the game simple. We don't even have a template. Look at Brazil. You have an outgoing president who is not even in his country, who has talked about the beauty and the good times of Pele. And yet you have a government that is coming in because the people want something that they can hold on to. That is what Brazil is going through, a mixture of sadness and at the same time finding joy in a new leadership. We need to use what we have to do exactly what we need. And we are not doing that. We are not getting it right. There is no captain. And when I talk about captain, I'm talking about leadership. Leadership has not found the right anchor with us. And how do we get the right kind of leadership? Where we accept that somebody can do something well and that excellence becomes a habit in which all of us can cultivate it and then get to express it. That is the simple things. We are not doing that. It's sad when we look at our game. We went to Ghana to play a draw, and when we came to Abuja, the capital, we considered an early goal in front of that kind of crowd, and there was no energy to get the players to understand that Nigeria is a country with over 90% passionate football fans needed to get something to go to the World Cup. The World Cup has gone. We've missed not only the benefits of being part of the World Cup, as I say, the lolly that comes with it, which we can use to even get the young ones engaged, employed. We can't. Imagine $27 million for Morocco for reaching the semi-final. That kind of money can start a little stadia across the country. But we need to sit down and ask ourselves, when you have a president, sports should not be kept as a backdoor thing. People expect excellence from sports. But then the surrounding environment does not make for excellence. How can sport excel? That is the big problem. We have presidential candidates today, they've forgotten that sports is the veritable instrument to engage the youth. How many of them have addressed the issue of sports? When they want to appoint ministers, they sit back at their homes and they say, they look at the list, the last in the list, they say, okay, you go to the sports ministry. But we see the power of sports. Pele took the name of Brazil to all corners of the world. That's what their presidents are saying. That's sports. That's a man who used a particular sports to change the face of his country. When you talk Brazil today, you talk about football, you talk about Pele. We should understand the dynamics. I look at the presidential candidates, how many of them are addressing the issue? The United Nations in the presentation of the Sustainable Development Goals said sports should be a veritable enabler, a catalyst. Have we done that? What is our vision? Our Vision 2010 master plan for sports is kept there. Now we have a master plan for football. Who is going to implement it? Which party has taken that document to see whether it's worth the while in terms of adaptation? Sports is the engine, and we are not using it. It's the fast track to development. Look at Qatar. They spent over 200 billion to put up a World Cup. It wasn't about the World Cup. It was about Qatar. Building a nation using sports. Their entire development program is anchored on what they want to do with that World Cup. And now they are on track.
Well, Mitchell, beyond football, Pelé was UNESCO ambassador. He was Minister of Sports. He was a campaigner against poverty, a defender of the interests of the Brazilian poor. He also wrote books, autobiographies. He also featured in documentaries and all of that. What would be your assessment of his general impact on popular culture and popular imagination?
Ruben, take it from 1958. How many African countries were looking at getting independence at that time? That's when Pele won his first World Cup as a 17-year-old. You can understand the source of inspiration. From a minority ethnic group in Brazil, they found a star, they found a hero, and it helped them to understand that they could be part of Brazil. And the Brazilians understood that they needed to work together. When did we see a multicultural team win the World Cup? France in 1998. The team France presented to win the World Cup, there were more blacks than you had more indigenous or autochthonous Frenchmen. The same when they won in Russia. Even when they reached the final, the star of the French team, it traces its root just by our neighbors here. And we are saying that the time has come. The time has come for us now to find our own genuine heroes. And if you want to take it even from the ladies, Toby Amusan shattered the world record. We've done the initial celebration, and what next? How do we get to have more of Toby Amusan so that we can now start the refill? We can now start building, getting individuals to understand the strength, the dynamics of using sports, a little canvas to get this nation going. Nigeria needs a new energy. Nigeria needs a gun. It needs a new engine, something to really automate and get our fully twined to move in the same direction. But that has to be inspired by leadership. And if you have a leadership that cannot read, you want to lead, you can't even read, it becomes a problem.
Well, I would like to thank you very much, Michel Obi, a veteran sports journalist, for joining us on this Live This Sunday talk show.